Can every type of person be sentimental? Today's panel discussion will share some valuable insights into this experience of our lives. Joining me today is our Type 1 expert, Jalea, our Type 2 expert, Anne, Type 3, Sarah, and Type 4 expert, Callista. And I think it's a stereotype to think, well, Type 2s, because you have an emotional connection with the world, you really experience your world through emotion, that you would be the most sentimental, or be the, if we were to say which type is sentimental, it'd be Type 2.
Yeah, because we have being sentimental is feelings of tenderness or a nostalgia, and so that connection
to a memory.
Yeah, and as a Type 2, I am sentimental. Just some examples in ways that I am sentimental experience that every year I create a family video and a family photo book. I like to keep things from the past. I have to keep checks on that so it doesn't become too much. All three of my kids have been named after a family member, and so there's that connection there. You share in the It's Just My Nature book that I've kept my blanket. I actually brought it today. It's been in storage. I still do have it, but I slept with it every night till I was 21, and obviously it's been very
I thought she should use it as her wedding veil.
Did you make this, Sarah?
No, actually, it was a group of women that gifted it. That were a quilting group, and they gifted it. It was really cute.
What color was it originally?
It was pink.
Pink with little bears and balloons and like hot air balloons.
It was handmade. It wasn't patchwork. It was actually a quilted whole piece that was quilted on the top.
Wouldn't they love to know how much I
know. Maybe they're watching. This is a well-loved gift.
Yeah, so
awesome.
It wasn't until I had been in college for a couple years that I decided I was, could put it away. But
how would you sleep with it?
It was like, now I have a body pillow, and I'm like, that's how this acted, is like my little pillow up here, and I would smell it, that sensory expression. Now it smells a little dusty. So there's that sentiment, and keeping things. I've always been a journaler since I was since I was 8 years old. I have a consistent journal, keeping photos. So I think you
still watch home videos from your childhood.
Yeah, I'm the only one of your kids that
finds that entertaining.
For the old videos, I'm like, sit down and enjoy it. And everyone's like, see you later. Enjoy that. I think the purpose is just connecting to the past and kind of reliving those feelings and those moments, and just seeing the big picture of the past, present, future. And
so I think you're sort of the baseline of what we think of sentiment as. Okay, that is a truly sentimental person. Yeah. So now let's look at the variables of that based on these other three types, and how, in your case, how is it not quite like that?
Yeah. So, there are some things that are similar to that. I have a secondary too, so I identify with a few things that Anne says, but very different in the sense that a lot of my sentiment has a purpose to it, as being a Type 3, very practical. The things I save have purpose. So, I have every dance costume since I was 4 years old in a couple bins in my basement, and my purpose for that is when my girls are big enough, I'm going to get them out and let them play with them, and
and they accomplished a lot in those dance uniforms.
They represent a lot of the things that you did.
I have every picture from those in a
You
binder.
probably received awards. There were recitals. There was something.
It's all organized. I do have some things that I've saved that are disorganized that I'll probably end up throwing out. I definitely love that sense of accomplishment when I look at those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. I owned horses when I was younger, and I would compete in gymkhana, like barrel racing, pole bending. I have all the ribbons I won.
Okay, yeah.
And then I used to do
marathons. You have all your...
Yeah, I have all my medals from my marathons. And then I was hired at a young age to put together needlepoint kits, so they were displayed in the sewing stores. I was 12, 13 years old, and I have all... And I could keep them after they used them. I have all those.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny. It's representing this result or something we did.
As purpose, yeah. I also have a porcelain doll collection that I collected since I was a young girl in boxes in my basement.
Wow.
And I've thought several times to throw them out, but there's a sense of accomplishment of having all those dolls. I don't know what to do with them.
And how the time it took you to collect it, and
I don't know what I'm going
to do. The investment you've made.
I was a very big collector, keychains, pens, spoons, and I had to check myself and be like, is this bringing me value, or am I just holding on to it? And I did
Yeah.
get rid of most
Yeah.
of it.
I've
Do you
never
scrapbook?
collected.
Um,
No. Do you scrapbook?
So no, I mean, not in the real sense of the word. I used to have judge myself for not scrapbooking. I had tons of friends that were really into it. All my type 2 and type 4 friends that loved that would do these elaborate scrapbooks, and I would try, but it just never worked out. And so I've been so grateful for Chatbooks that connects with Instagram. It's a great app. It just prints all my Instagram photos every 60 pages. It prints them.
And that's why you do Instagram.
That's why I do
to get the chapbook.
Exactly. And I feel like it's a perfect way for me to scrapbook because
it's like scrapbook on autopilot.
Yeah, I've been wanting to make a baby book for my girls for 3 years now, and it hasn't happened. Like, I have all the stuff like in a little box, and I'm like, I'll scrapbook this, but it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So, but I love it.
I was the one, I made you a book for your baby shower of your like maternity photos with you and Kara and Chris. And stuff.
I still have that. Yeah. So I put that book actually with all of my chapbooks on our little like our coffee table in our family room. My girls just sit and look through them, and that for me is a sense of result that they're able to experience it hands-on, remember things. They'll be like, Mom, I was a little baby, and they'll want to look at those, and they're cheap and inexpensive, so if they break or tear them or whatever, I can easily replace them. But that's the way I scrapbook. And
makes sense to me.
Yeah. And I can get sentimental and have emotion about past experience. It has to do with my girls. I'll go through and watch videos or pictures of them sometimes, and I'll get emotional about that, or family members that have passed on. I'll get that thing out, but it doesn't last for very long. It won't be very purposeful too. It will just kind of just happen, and then I'll be like, oh, that's great, and then I'll move on. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to sit and read all. I know you've mentioned she'll sit and read all of her journals. 2 weeks, you read every single journal entry.
That was my emotional experience. I was doing the KonMari, and so I was going through every item I owned, and I read every single journal in a 2-week period.
I was on a trip with Anna, and she's in the airplane reading her journal. I was like, wow.
It's too painful for me to read my journals. I'm like, glad it's over.
With journaling, I would also judge myself because I wouldn't want to sit and take the time. So I used to do once a week. I would journal about the week, and now it's like once a month. But still, I get it around every night. Seriously.
You've got your chapbooks to remember.
I know. That's my journal.
Journaling looks so different in this day and age too.
It does. It's true.
About you, Calista.
Yeah.
So I've kept a journal since I was little. My mom started we homeschooled, and so part of our homeschools we would write in a journal every day. So I have that journal, but it took me until I was 18 to fill it all the way out.
Wow.
So I would often kind of judge myself because my sister is a type 2, and she would just fill journal after journal after journal and scrapbook and save things, and I'm like,
you're very concise.
Should I care? Should I care that much? Am I too stoic? Am I like an unfeeling ice cube or something? But once I learned about Dressed in Truth, I understood that as her type 2 nature, that's her way of expressing herself, and she takes in so many senses, and so it's good for her to be able to let those pour through her rather than just keeping them all inside. But for me, that my journaling is more like a paragraph. Blah, 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 this happened, these people were there, da-da-da. It's
more factual.
Yeah, it's more like a factual record. Unless it's a deep emotion that I'm processing, then those are different kinds of journal entries. But growing up, my dad, he's a type 4, and I think this is where I get the sense of grounded, knowing who I am, and that's what that sentiment comes from that. So he had a lot of family histories around, and we were always free to look at them and read through them. We would visit cemeteries and historical landmarks. His family's all from this area and has been here for about 150 years. So all of our family things are within just day trips. So we spent a lot of time digging deep into that, knowing who I am and getting that sense of loyalty and groundedness and sense of identity. So that nostalgia comes in for me in understanding who they were, where they lived, where they died, what they did, how many children they had, their stories. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that gives me that identity of groundedness. So growing up and even now, I save those things that give me that sense of knowing who I am and understanding the process of my life. And the type 4 gift for editing helps me know how to really get rid of those extra things, those things that aren't really serving that story and that record, and keeping those things that are really important to each of those landmark, pivotal moments in my life and in the life of my family and my children now. So I save those things. Also, like Anne, all of my children have a family name, and we've named them after a person of their same type.
Oh, that's neat.
Unintentionally, really.
Oh, really? That's
so they're named after a person of their same type, and it's been fun to see that develop in them. We named my daughter Hazel, who's her type 3 of secondary 1 after my mom, who's a type 3 secondary 1, and their personalities are very similar. And then my daughter Evelyn is named after her great-grandmother, who's a type 2. And then my son Henry, we named him after my great-great-grandfather. And reading more about him, I've discovered, oh wow, he was a type 4, and like he was a small man, and my little guy's a very petite little guy. So it's been fun to make those connections and get that sense of identity and who we are.
That's cool.
I do save things, but it's not a lot. I probably have 2 or 3 boxes of things that I've saved for my life. Scrapbooking's not something I enjoy doing. I did my wedding book, but that was only because I knew I had to do it right when I got married. So I just laid it all out, and for a week our house looked like a scrapbooking extravaganza, and I got it all done, and it was done, and that is the only scrapbook I've ever completed. And it'll probably be the only scrapbook I ever complete. I've tried. I have like a few that have started, but it's not something I enjoy, just getting all the little nitty-gritties and the little stickers and tapes and pages.
No,
and,
I don't do that kind of scrapbooking either. It's all digital.
It's too laborious.
You scrapbooker?
Well, it's funny because I'm very true to my type with nostalgia. I'm connect and disconnect. So with scrapbooking, I'll have periods in my life where I have an amazing scrapbook, and then there's others that there's no record kept of it at all. Yeah. And they're really like random scrapbooking too. Like pictures, cut out shapes, like blah, all in these scrapbooks, and then some that are none. In my adult life, I'm very much, I can keep all my albums on a Moments app that I have on my phone, and when I want to, I like dive deep and I fill and I get really
go,
into
way
it.
Back to the past.
Oh yeah, I get way back and I can like get entranced in it for hours, and then I'm done with it and I don't think about it again for like a month or two. Something that has been really nice is on my TV screen I have a screensaver that goes, and it's all our family memories. So that's really fun. I'll like be doing my dishes or something, and like the screensaver will pop up and I'll see different memories pass by. And I'm like, oh, that's really fun. So I don't have to get super deep with that, but it's just nice that it's just quick and flashes by me. But when I do get nostalgic, it is deep, heavy, dark. Sometimes I just want to feel, and then and then I'm done with it. So like my mom, she kept all of her cheerleading outfits for me, so I kept all mine for a girl if I have a girl. And I used to have a ton of stuff, but when I got married, my husband talked me into getting rid of most of it because he didn't.
That?
No, and why did I keep it anyways? I never went in and looked at it.
I think type 1s, though, like knowing other type 1s that have kept a lot of stuff, it's like, well, maybe. It's like the possibilities.
That was it, exactly. And we're going through boxes, and he's like, why would you keep this? I was like, I don't know, but I really like it. I'm like, when was the last time you looked at it? I have it, so okay, we'll get rid of it. So I'm down to a little group of things, but the little group of things are great, like old videos of my performances and things that I will go back and watch and get deep and heavy, and then I'll move on to something else.
I love that in lifestyle content, we're able to explore how we experience our emotional self with more breadth and depth to it, and then have that conversation in the Facebook lifestyle community page where the conversation then is really brought to life and you get to hear the stories and the examples. So we'd love for you to join us in the
in lifestyle, we've talked about how every type can be empathetic, how every type expresses anger or sadness, and it's a really fun place. If you're enjoying the discussion of energy profiling, lifestyle is the place to go to dive deeper.
Yeah, and to really get to know yourself better and those people that you deal with every day of your life, so you can support honoring their truth. And that's a great asset to me. 3 of you are family members. It's really served in understanding the nature of those you love and care about, so you can truly show forth that kind of consideration. How are you sentimental in your life? How do you experience and express sentiment? Share in a comment. Did you like this video? For more supportive resources, sign up for my weekly newsletter below. I want to continue to support you in living your truth.